what do I think next year E3 will look like, and what made me pull out of E3 this year before COVID? Yakov wants to ask. I don't know what the plan, what E3 will be next year. I know they've announced dates for it. We'll sort of see. Look, the decision to not do E3 this year was it was a very emotional thing for me. A lot of people, my friends and people around me, sort of said like, "Oh, this felt like it was like a breakup for you." It was like super personal, and it was. I mean, I was a kid that went to the first E3 when I was 15 years old, right? I mean, it was 1995. I was kind of like went to E3, and it was like it really made me want to be in the gaming industry. And I've been to every E3, right, for 25 years, really. I mean, it was a long time. And the decision to not do E3, last year was really, it was hard to not have everyone there at E3 and fewer companies at E3. PlayStation not being there, it was sad last year. And other companies, not joining. And I kind of made a decision myself last summer that I really wanted to get everyone back together again for E3. I think it was really important for the industry. And we had a big moment at the Game Awards in 2018 when we had Reggie, Phil, and Sean all together on stage. And I think that meant so much to me and to everyone in the industry to have that sort of sense of unity. And that really was kind of a North Star that guided me as I was thinking about E3. So I worked really hard for a long time to see if there was a way that we could get everyone aligned to sort of come back around the table at E3 and be a part of it. And, for a variety of reasons, it just became clear to me that we weren't going to be able to get to that moment for E3. And I had, some different thoughts than the people that were on E3 on kind of where I thought the show should go. And it was a lot of being more digital and more global and sort of the thinking around it. And ultimately, I kind of made the decision that if we couldn't go into 2020, the year of a new console launch, and not have like PlayStation and Xbox there, it just didn't feel like E3 to me. The first E3, like in 1995, I remember seeing the PlayStation booth. That was the year the first PlayStation came out, and how meaningful that was. I went to there was like the launch party for PlayStation in 1995. I went there on the Sony Pictures lot in Culver City, or my dad drove me over there, and I still remember like this amazing roast beef sandwich I had there, and Michael Jackson was there walking around and like playing, like there was a Ridge Racer arcade cabinet he was playing, and then I remember being in like line for ice cream, because there was like an ice cream store on the Sony Pictures lot, and like Michael Jackson was in there getting his ice cream, and they closed the store so he'd get his ice cream, and they let everyone else in. And it's like silly stories, but it's just like so much of the DNA, I think, of E3 was like these big moments. So I kind of said to myself privately, I really don't know if I want to do this E3 thing if we can't have, all the platforms and everyone there together in a console launch year. So I sort of decided like late last fall that it was likely that I probably wasn't going to do E3 this year. I know it didn't get announced till kind of February, but I sort of had made the decision on my end that I just, the E3 guys really wanted me, I think, to keep working with them and being a part of it. And they were, made some very kind overtures, and it wasn't about money or anything like that. It really was just sort of my view of philosophically that I thought I had to kind of take a stand for what I thought a show like E3 should kind of represent to the industry. So yeah, it was hard for me. And again, a variety of things played into it, and then, made the announcement in February. Didn't really have any plans. I was planning to do Gamescom, obviously Game Awards. But I was, I think initially I was like, maybe I'll just be on vacation in Europe, or, do something in June. I wasn't sure. It was going to be weird to like be around E3. Was I going to go or not? And, it's like all those things you kind of just debate through. And then all this COVID stuff really started. And I was, after I kind of announced I was not doing E3, I went to Europe for a couple of weeks and was just, I was in Paris and London and a bunch of other places, just thinking about what I was going to do in the summer. And then that was right when sort of all this COVID stuff was starting. And then obviously it led to kind of cancellation of E3 and everything. And then this Summer Game Fest thing really just sort of came together through a lot of listening to all the game companies about kind of wanted to, what they wanted to do, how we could come together as an industry and not be sort of so fractured with all kind of individual events across the board. So I just listened to everyone, and it sort of felt like, hey, I sort of, similar to how when I started Game Awards, I kind of said, hey, if we can get all the game companies to agree on like an idea and a principle of like this concept of Summer Game Fest, maybe we can make something happen. So yeah, it wasn't like I was left E3 because I was doing Summer Game Fest. It really was like I said, I'm not going to do E3. We'll figure it out down the road. Hopefully it'll work out. And this is not, it's like a more of a life thing, but I feel like sometimes you just have to be patient and kind of stick to, your gut of what you feel is right. And that really was what I did in this case of just saying like, I don't feel right about this, but I think hopefully we'll figure something out. And then now we figured out this Summer Game Fest thing. I was honored that, all the major game companies were supportive of it, and excited about the concept of it. They're doing their own things. And this is like, it's sort of like Game Awards. We're kind of just building it in real time every week. It's new and different for me to like have this streaming set up. Like, part of the thing for me is like, I travel so extensively all year. I'm always like, it'd be cool to have a streaming setup. But then I'm in so many different cities. I'm like, I'm actually never in LA right now, so I can't do that, or in New York or London. And it's just like, I'm always kind of moving around to different places. So this has actually been interesting for me to like not have been on a plane for a couple months really, and have this sort of set up. So it allows me to sort of toy around with this stuff. And it's cool to have my Stream Deck and my, all my streaming stuff and understand this world, right? Because you guys are, a big part of the community. You watch my stuff. You co-stream the Game Awards. So I'm like, I should understand this stuff a little bit better. So it's been a lot of fun for me. And even this is just like doing a Q&A, and I'm like, there's no news. I just like come chat with you guys about what we're doing. So hopefully this is somewhat helpful. And again, that was a very long answer about E3, but I hope that gives you a little context of kind of how my brain works and how I think about things. And I don't know what next year brings. People are like, is there Summer Game Fest next year? Is there E3? I think we're all just like figuring this out in real time. So I just try and be like, honest with everyone about how I'm thinking about things. And, we're working now on what Game Awards is going to be this year and how that comes together. So there's a lot that's evolving in real time. And the best I can do is just keep you guys posted on how things are evolving.